The door that never opens. No judge announces a sentence here. No clock counts down the days. At CECOT, time doesn't move forward, it disappears. The buses arrive before dawn, engines rumbling like distant thunder, and when the doors swing open, men step into a place where names fade, futures end, and the world forgets them. This is El Salvador's most feared prison, and once you cross its threshold, you are no longer a man with a past, only a body assigned to a number, sealed away from life itself. CECOT rises from the plains like a fortress built for war, not justice. Concrete walls stretch outward in rigid lines, crowned with coils of razor wire that glint under the sun like sharpened teeth. Watchtowers stand at perfect intervals, their shadows crawling across the ground as the day advances, each tower a silent promise that escape is impossible. The prison does not blend into the landscape, it dominates it. From miles away, it announces its purpose without words. This is where El Salvador sends the men it never wants to see again. The road leading to CECOT is wide and freshly paved, but eerily empty. No vendors, no curious onlookers, no families waiting with documents or hope. Only armed patrols and concrete barriers, placed there to ensure that no one approaches by mistake or by intention. The message is clear long before the gates appear. Turn back now, because nothing beyond this point belongs to the outside world. CECOT was not built to rehabilitate. It was built to end something, an era of fear, a cycle of violence, and some say, the lives of those who enter it. El Salvador's government called it a solution, a final answer to decades of gang terror that left neighborhoods paralyzed and families shattered. To many citizens, it became a symbol of relief, a promise that the nightmare was finally over. But behind its walls, a different reality took shape, one that few would ever witness, and even fewer would survive unchanged. The men brought here arrived shackled in groups, heads shaved, torsos bare. Their tattoos, once symbols of power, identity, and allegiance, are now exposed for inspection, catalogued like evidence of a life already condemned. Guards shout orders not to communicate, but to erase individuality. Speak only when commanded. Look forward. Move when told. From the moment they step off the bus, the process of disappearance begins. Inside the intake hall, the air is cold and metallic. Fluorescent lights hum overhead, washing everything in a pale, unforgiving glow. There are no windows here, no sense of direction or time. Men are processed quickly, efficiently, like cargo. Belts, shoes, personal items, anything that connects them to the outside, is stripped away and sealed in bags they may never see again. Names are replaced by numbers, histories by files, lives by records stamped and stored. CECOT's design reflects its philosophy. Vast cell blocks stretch outward like ribs from a spine, each block capable of holding hundreds of inmates in tight, regimented rows. Cells are stark and identical, designed not for comfort but control. Steel bunks are welded into place. Toilets sit in the open, offering no privacy. Lights never fully go dark. Sleep, when it comes, is shallow and restless, interrupted by the constant awareness that someone is always watching. The guards are everywhere and nowhere. Faces hidden behind masks, rifles slung across their chests. They move with precision and silence. Orders are given with gestures more often than words. Discipline is absolute. Any deviation is met with immediate consequence. Here, authority is not negotiated. It is enforced. For the government, CECOT represents strength. For many citizens, it represents safety. Crime rates dropped. Streets once ruled by fear grew quieter. Parents let their children walk to school again. Markets stayed open after sunset. In the national narrative, the prison became a monument to control reclaimed, a decisive strike against chaos. But prisons tell their own stories, and CECOT's story does not end at the gates. Within days of arrival, the men begin to understand what this place truly is. There are no rehabilitation programs, no job assignments meant to prepare them for life beyond the walls. The routine is strict and repetitive. Wake, stand, count, eat, return to the cell. Movement is limited. Communication is restricted. Silence becomes a survival skill. Days blur together, indistinguishable from one another, forming a continuous stretch of confinement that feels endless. For some inmates, the psychological weight is heavier than the physical restraints. The knowledge that there is no clear release date, no countdown to freedom, presses down like a constant force. In other prisons, even the longest sentences come with milestones, hearings, appeals. At CECOT, the future is undefined, and that uncertainty is its own form of punishment. Outside the walls, rumors spread. Stories circulate of men who enter and are never heard from again, not because they died, but because they ceased to exist in any recognizable way. Families search for information, making calls that go unanswered, filing requests that vanish into bureaucracy. The prison does not offer explanations. It offers containment. CECOT was constructed in record time, a feat hailed by supporters as proof of decisive leadership. Its sheer scale is staggering. Tens of thousands of inmates housed in a single complex, making it one of the largest prisons on the planet. From above, it resembles a machine, orderly, symmetrical, relentless. Every corridor, every gate, every camera is positioned for maximum control. Human error is minimized. Mercy is not part of the design. The men inside quickly learn the rules, though they are rarely written. Eye contact can be interpreted as defiance, hesitation as resistance. Strength is not displayed through dominance, but through endurance, through the ability to withstand monotony, isolation, and the slow erosion of identity. Friendships are dangerous. Trust is rare. Survival depends on becoming invisible. Yet even in a place built to erase humanity, traces of it remain. In the quiet moments between counts, men whisper stories of their past lives, families, neighborhoods, childhoods that feel like dreams. Some cling to faith, mouthing prayers under their breath. Others stare at the walls, memorizing cracks and stains, anything to anchor themselves to the present. Time passes, but meaning does not. CECOT's existence raises questions that echo far beyond El Salvador's borders. Can security justify absolute confinement? Can a society truly heal by burying its worst fears behind concrete and steel? Supporters argue that the prison saved lives, that the sacrifices made within its walls are necessary for peace outside. Critics warn that a system built on disappearance risks becoming something darker, something that no longer distinguishes between justice and vengeance. But inside CECOT, debates mean nothing. The men here do not weigh policy or politics. They count breaths. They mark days by meals. They listen for footsteps in the corridor and hope the guards pass their cell without stopping. The outside world feels distant, almost imaginary, like a story told by someone else. At night, when the lights dim but never fully shut off, the prison hums softly, a constant vibration of electricity, surveillance, and restraint. It is the sound of a system that never sleeps. A system designed to hold, to contain, to erase. For those locked inside, the realization settles in slowly but firmly. This is not a place you serve time. This is a place that takes it. CECOT does not announce executions. It does not need to. Its power lies in permanence, in the knowledge that tomorrow will look exactly like today, and the day after that, and the one after that. The men who enter are not marched to their deaths, but many will never truly live again. And beyond the walls, as El Salvador celebrates safer streets and quieter nights, the fortress stands unmoved, swallowing busload after busload of men, each one stepping through the same gate, each one crossing the same invisible line. The door closes behind them with a sound that echoes longer than any sentence. Because at CECOT, the punishment is not pain. It is disappearance. The CECOT does not wake up. It is already awake. Long before the men inside open their eyes, the prison is counting them. Cameras blink to life in synchronized patterns. Guards move through corridors with rehearsed precision. Every sound is measured, every motion anticipated. The system does not rely on surprise or chaos. It relies on routine so strict that resistance feels pointless before it even begins. Morning arrives without sunlight. The men know it only by the sequence of commands that ripple through the cell blocks. Stand. Face forward. Hands visible. A count is taken, then taken again. Numbers must match perfectly. A single discrepancy can freeze an entire wing, locking thousands of bodies in place until the machine is satisfied that nothing has gone wrong. In CECOT, perfection is not an ideal, it is a requirement. Food is delivered with military efficiency. Meals are basic, designed to sustain but never to comfort. There are no choices, no conversations, no lingering. Trays slide through openings in the bars and are collected minutes later. Eating is another task to be completed, not an experience to be enjoyed. Hunger is controlled. Desire is irrelevant. Movement outside the cells is rare and tightly choreographed. When inmates are escorted, they move in lines, heads down, hands restrained. The corridors are wide and bare, intentionally stripped of anything that could distract or inspire. The architecture funnels bodies forward, limiting vision and isolating sound. Even when surrounded by hundreds of others, a man can feel utterly alone. Silence is the prison's most effective weapon. Not the silence of peace, but the silence of suppression. Shouting is forbidden. Singing is forbidden. Even prolonged whispers can draw attention. Over time, voices weaken from disuse. Words feel heavy in the mouth, unfamiliar. Some men stop speaking altogether, choosing invisibility over risk. CECOT's guards are trained to enforce this silence without hesitation. They are young, disciplined, and anonymous behind masks that strip away individuality on both sides of the bars. Orders are given briefly, often without explanation. Compliance is expected instantly. Punishment is swift and public enough to discourage imitation, yet clinical enough to avoid spectacle. The message is always the same. Control is absolute. Within this environment, the concept of leadership, once central to gang identity, collapses. Hierarchies dissolve under constant surveillance. Alliances are impossible to maintain when communication is restricted and proximity is enforced without choice. Men who once commanded entire neighborhoods now struggle to influence the person in the next bunk. Power, as they once knew it, has no place here. The prison's design ensures that no single group can dominate. Members of rival gangs are housed together not to provoke violence, but to neutralize it. The presence of enemies becomes normal, unavoidable. Fear does not disappear. It is redistributed, spread thinly across every waking moment. The threat is no longer each other. It is the system itself. Days blend into weeks, weeks into months. Without calendars or external reference points, time loses its structure. Some inmates attempt to mark it mentally, counting meals or guard shifts, but even those markers blur. The future becomes abstract, an idea rather than a destination. Hope, when it appears, is fragile and easily crushed. The psychological toll is immense. Isolation, even in crowded conditions, erodes the mind. Men replay memories repeatedly, clinging to fragments of their former lives. Faces of children, sounds of streets, smells of food cooked at home. These memories offer comfort at first, then pain, as the realization grows that those moments may never return. For some, the mind retreats inward, shutting down to protect itself from constant stress. CECOT offers no counseling, no therapy, no structured outlet for emotion. Anger has nowhere to go. Regret finds no listener. Fear remains unspoken but omnipresent. The prison does not ask inmates to confront their pasts or imagine better futures. It asks only that they exist quietly, efficiently, and indefinitely. From the outside, this efficiency is praised. Officials speak of order restored and violence reduced. Statistics are cited, charts displayed, success declared. The prison is presented as proof that decisive action works, that fear can be crushed with enough concrete and steel. For a nation long haunted by gangs, the results feel tangible and immediate. But statistics do not capture what happens to a man when every day is identical, when identity is stripped down to survival alone. They do not measure the cost of turning human beings into inventory. Inside CECOT, the absence of chaos does not equal peace. It simply means the chaos has been contained, compressed into silence. Occasionally, rumors break through the stillness. Whispers of transfers. Stories of men taken out and never seen again. Whether true or exaggerated, these rumors thrive in an environment starved of information. Uncertainty magnifies fear. Every unexpected movement by guards becomes a potential turning point. Every delay a cause for dread. Families on the outside feel the prison's reach as well. Visits are rare and tightly controlled, if they happen at all. Communication is minimal, often non-existent. Loved ones are left to imagine conditions inside, piecing together fragments from news reports and second-hand accounts. For many, the uncertainty is as punishing as the separation. CECOT's isolation is deliberate. The less the outside world knows, the easier it is to maintain control. Transparency is seen as a risk, scrutiny as a threat. The prison exists in a space where necessity is used to justify opacity, and security overrides compassion. Supporters argue that this secrecy is essential. Critics argue that it is dangerous. Inside, those debates feel distant and meaningless. The men are focused on endurance, on lasting one more day without drawing attention, without losing control, without breaking entirely. Strength is redefined not by aggression, but by restraint. The strongest inmates are often the quietest, the ones who blend into the background and attract the least notice. Night brings no real relief. The lights dim but remain on, casting long shadows across the cells. Sleep is shallow, fragmented by noise and vigilance. Dreams, when they come, are vivid and cruel, offering brief returns to freedom before snapping back to concrete reality. Waking up is often harder than staying asleep. CECOT functions like a machine, and machines are indifferent. They do not judge, forgive, or forget. They operate according to design. And this machine was designed to remove people from society as efficiently as possible, to warehouse them beyond the reach of daily life. Whether that removal is temporary or permanent is left deliberately unclear. As months pass, some inmates begin to change in subtle ways. Posture slumps. Eyes lose focus. Reaction slow. The transformation is gradual but unmistakable. A quiet surrender to the environment. Not surrender in the sense of giving up, but acceptance that resistance is futile and adaptation is the only option. For El Salvador, CECOT stands as a monument to control regained. For the men inside, it is a lesson in how quickly a person can be reduced to routine. The prison does not need brutality to assert dominance. Its power lies in consistency, in the unchanging nature of its rules and the endless repetition of its days. The machine keeps running flawlessly and without pause. Buses continue to arrive. Gates continue to close. Numbers continue to be counted and recounted. And inside the walls, silence deepens, settling like dust over everything it touches. Because in CECOT, survival is not about living well. It is about lasting quietly. Inside a system that was never built to let you leave, CECOT does not end when the gates close behind you. It extends outward, beyond the concrete and razor wire, into the streets, the homes, and the collective conscience of El Salvador. The prison may be sealed off from the public eye, but its existence reshapes everything around it, creating a shadow that stretches far beyond its walls. For many citizens, that shadow feels like protection. Neighborhoods, once ruled by fear, now sleep through the night. Extortion calls have dwindled. Murders that once made headlines weekly are no longer routine. Parents speak of relief, of finally breathing without constantly looking over their shoulders. In these quiet moments, CECOT is not a prison. It is a promise kept. Supporters point to these changes as undeniable proof. They argue that extraordinary violence demanded extraordinary measures, that a nation pushed to the brink had no choice but to respond with force. For them, CECOT is not cruel, it is necessary. A tool forged in desperation, wielded to reclaim a future that gangs had stolen. But safety, once achieved, demands reflection. And reflection invites questions that are harder to silence than gunfire. who decides who enters a place with no clear exit. How much certainty is required before freedom is taken indefinitely? And what happens to a society that accepts disappearance as policy? Inside CECOT, these questions have no answers, only consequences. Men continue to arrive, processed by the same system, absorbed into the same silence. Some are hardened criminals, architects of violence, whose actions devastated countless lives. Others are less clear-cut, suspects swept up in mass arrests, accused but not convicted, trapped in a system moving too fast to pause for nuance. The prison does not distinguish between degrees of guilt once the gates close. The rules apply equally. Silence is enforced universally. Time disappears for everyone. For families, the line between safety and sacrifice is painfully personal. Mothers wait for news that never comes. Children grow up knowing their fathers only through fading photographs and whispered stories. Spouses navigate a world where grief has no closure, because the person they lost is not officially gone, just unreachable. These families are rarely seen in official narratives. Their suffering does not appear in crime statistics or press conferences. It exists quietly, in empty chairs and unanswered questions, forming a parallel reality to the national celebration of order restored. International observers debate CECOT from afar, framing it as a test case for how far a government can go in the name of security. Some praise its effectiveness. Others warn of a dangerous precedent, where rights are suspended indefinitely and oversight fades into irrelevance. The prison becomes a symbol, interpreted differently depending on where one stands. Yet symbols are abstractions. CECOT is concrete and steel. It hums with electricity and routine. It holds living, breathing men whose lives have been paused or ended by policy. Inside, the long-term effects deepen. Men who have spent years in silent struggle to remember who they were before. Identity erodes, replaced by habit. When the mind adapts to confinement, freedom becomes a foreign concept, almost frightening in its uncertainty. For those few who may eventually leave, reintegration is not guaranteed. The world they return to will not be the one they remember. CECOT does not prepare inmates for release, because release is not its focus. Its purpose is containment, not transformation. That distinction matters because it shapes what comes next, not just for the men inside, but for the society that built it. History offers lessons here. Systems designed solely to suppress often succeed in the short term, only to create deeper fractures later. Trauma does not disappear when it is locked away. It accumulates. It waits. And when it resurfaces, it does so in unpredictable ways. El Salvador stands at a crossroads shaped by this reality. The immediate benefits of CECOT are undeniable, but the long-term cost remains uncertain. A generation grows up knowing that absolute power can be exercised swiftly and decisively, with minimal transparency. Whether that knowledge fosters stability or fear depends on what comes next. CECOT's defenders argue that there was no alternative, that the prison saved lives that would have otherwise been lost. Its critics argue that safety achieved through disappearance risks, eroding the very justice it seeks to protect. Between these positions lies a fragile balance, one that no amount of concrete can permanently secure. Inside the prison, balance is irrelevant. The machine continues its work, indifferent to praise or criticism. It counts bodies. It enforces silence. It absorbs time. The men inside adapt because they must, not because they believe in the system that holds them. Outside, life goes on. Markets reopen. Music returns to neighborhoods once muted by fear. Children play where violence once ruled. In these moments, CECOT feels distant, almost abstract, a necessary darkness that made the light possible. But darkness has a way of spreading when left unchecked. The true measure of CECOT will not be found in its size or efficiency, but in what El Salvador chooses to do once the immediate crisis fades. Will the prison remain an emergency measure or become a permanent fixture of governance? Will transparency increase or will silence deepen? Will justice evolve or will containment become the default response to complexity? CECOT forces a nation and the world to confront uncomfortable truths about power, fear, and the limits of control. It asks whether safety gained through absolute confinement can coexist with the values that define a free society. As the sun sets over the fortress, casting long shadows across its walls, the prison remains unmoved. Guards change shifts. Cameras keep watching. Men lie awake in cells that feel both crowded and impossibly empty. The machine does not rest because it was never designed to. CECOT is more than a prison. It is a statement, a warning, and a question still waiting for an answer. Because when a society builds a place where people vanish, it must eventually decide what it is willing to lose to feel safe, and whether that loss is truly worth the silence that follows.